Activating live feed. Let me check to see.
Says live.
Says live.
Meeting
Okay.
is now streaming on live.
I'd like to double check here. We're probably live. Yeah, we're live right now. Okay. Let me activate the sharing. Anyone who's watching, we are activating the sharing. Just if you know. Okay, so once the sharing comes up, go ahead and get started, Kathy.
Okay, yep.
Okay. Okay, thank you everyone for joining the East Springfield Board and East Springfield Member Council Board and Police Beat meeting for February 16th, 2021. If anyone is watching on Facebook or YouTube, if you could like the Facebook page, if you haven't liked it yet, that would be fantastic. And for YouTube, really like to get up to 100 subscribers. We are inching ever closer there. So if you can, please click that subscribe button. I will put this video up on that feed later tonight. Just FYI for everybody, meetings are recorded and posted on our social pages for review, usually that night or the next day, depending on if I get sleepy or not. So at this point, now that I've covered all that, I would like to turn the meeting over to our council president, Kathy Brown.
Good evening, and again, welcome to the East Springfield Neighborhood Council Board and Beat Management Team meeting for February. Let us please pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
I have to say, 1 year in, and we're so close to being on sync. We're getting there. Like,
okay, all right. So we do have a quorum. So let me call this meeting to order. Again, we do want to hear from you. Your issues are important. They're important to all of us. So please, neighbors working together can make our community more viable and alive. So give us a call, give us an email, and we'll work together. Our monthly conference call with the Plaza Management continues. We will be meeting later on this week. If anyone has any items you'd like us to bring to the attention of the Plaza Management, please do so before, well, today, tomorrow would be great. City services are operating, of course, call 311 and please continue to report issues that are of concern to you. Some of those issues might be graffiti, shopping carts, street lights and traffic lights that are non-functional, or speed signs, or missing or faded no parking signs. All of that needs to be reported through 311 so that we can make the neighborhood more complete. Curb appeal, we mentioned it in the last neighborhood council newsletter, and there are lots of items, things that go on in the neighborhood that improve or detract from our curb appeal. Again, some of those problematic signs that are posted on public ways, they're illegal to post. If you see them, please report them to 311 and see what we can do about getting them down. Other items include the unshoveled sidewalks that are a hazard. Sidewalks are looking pretty darn good in East Springfield this time around. So thank you to everybody who helped make that much more successful than it's been in the past. A reminder that snow and ice must be removed within 24 hours of the end of the snow event. And we have a request to please clear the fire hydrants if they haven't been cleared. Fortunately, today, I think the rain has taken care of a lot of the snow. So I think we will be in good shape when we get more snow on Thursday. Fair enough?
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Our next meeting, this is to announce that our next meeting, Councilor Williams, Letterman, and Fenton will join us to talk about some COVID issues. So join in on March 2nd. Success, the Mass DOT 25% meeting for St. James Avenue and St. James Boulevard is scheduled for March 3rd. The meeting information and other files are posted on our website. The meeting the state is going to put the information on the website at 8 a.m. on March 3rd, at which point we can all go onto the computer and read and review what the presentation is. After that, there will be a couple of weeks, and the date is on our website for comment. If you review it and if you have any ideas or comments that you think we should know about, please let us know. We are, as some neighborhood council board members, are going to get together via Zoom, probably via Zoom, after March 3rd, and make sure that all of the components that we've brought to the state's attention prior to now are included in the 25% plan. Are there any questions on that from the board or from anybody in the doing in?
Not yet, but so normally I put this presentation on our website afterwards, which I will do as well, but also in the Facebook link underneath, I'll put a PDF version of this presentation, so that way if people want to get to the clickable links, you know, it's, if you go to the website, it's right at the top of the website right now and where to find all the info.
The
But I'll
neighborhood
put it
council
in
website.
all three places, so hopefully you can find it.
Okay, good. So no other questions? No questions from the floor?
No.
The Community Preservation Act project, again, the submissions are due April 1st. We are working on getting our application for a new spray structure for Marshall Roy Field into the mix. We've just started it, but we have about 45 days to get that in. So we're in good shape in terms of our timeline. We have applied for the competitive Springfield Cultural Council grant. They've asked for some input of all of the proposed applicants, and we provided that input, and we're hoping to see a successful grant. We do not know what would be granted. We're just waiting for them to go through their vetting process. The newsletter, everybody should have received the newsletter in the mail, or if you didn't, well, everybody for whom we had an email address should have received theirs via email. And anybody for whom we had an address from the past 3 or 4 years, you should have received it in the mail. If not, please go to our website and you can review our February newsletter. We will do another newsletter in April. So please, if you have ideas of things that should be in that newsletter, we hope that you will reach out to us. I think a couple of people who have already reached out. And then, as I said at the last meeting, we will be mailing a newsletter to every single residential address in East Springfield in June. So it's a great opportunity to get the information that people need out into their hands and stuck on the refrigerator if that's what they do with the newsletter. COVID, please do your part. We have a click on link here, and we know that there are vaccinations have started to happen, and there's as of today, there were still open appointments for today at the Eastville Mall site for people who are 75 and older. So I'm hoping that more opportunities will roll out. The library is helping people who do not have access to computers to sign up. So if you know someone who doesn't have a computer and may need help signing up, who's 75 and older, just tell them to call the East Springfield Library. All of the libraries in Springfield are doing it, or they can call 211. That's the state's opportunity to give them a call, and they will help anybody who needs help signing up for their vaccine. 211. It's a state outreach. The last item that I have on my portion of the agenda is that the Recovery Connection Center of America that is proposing that clinic at 281 Cottage Street and did present at our last meeting, and they, as I stated, will need a special permit from the city council. If anybody missed the presentation at the last meeting, you can find our presentation on the website, the meeting on the website. And anybody with any comments should certainly email us so that we can be fully informed of everyone's thought process on the Recovery Connection Center of America proposed clinic at 281 Cottage Street. Any comments or questions so far, Guy?
Only thing that came up was I responded back Deb had asked about the spray structure proposal,
Mhm.
and that we were just tweaking it this time because it was submitted last time. But I sent back in the chat that the walking path was approved last time, and we have work done, but we'll still have work to do to obviously submit. So
Yes,
it'll be more than a tweak, but
yeah, it's a
less
bit
than
more.
an entire start over.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we're looking forward to not having to do that entire arduous process, but it will still be, it'll still take a fair amount of time and some manpower from us. Okay, anything else?
Nothing as of yet.
And no other comments from the board or from the lieutenant or officer Vasquez?
Just Kathy, you talked about, the spray structure over at Marshall Roy. And I was made aware, or, I was approached about, apparently there's some repairs that need to be made to the play structures that are over at Marshall Roy.
At Marshall Roy? Okay,
At Marshall Roy, some of those play structures, some of the items that are within the play structures need to be repaired.
okay,
They've got ropes have been cut, ropes have worn out, or parts of them have worn out, have been broken or whatever. It needs some maintenance.
okay. All right,
Or
well,
maybe-
we will turn that in, and for future reference, we appreciate you bringing it up, anybody bringing it up here, and that's an appropriate venue to do that. But if anybody sees something like that, if they also just call 311 and get it in the record, that
That's a good
Marshall Roy, and then you can be as specific as you can be. But we like to know it too, because we do communicate with the park department more than once a month, trying to make sure that everything's looking good. And we do know that there are some repairs that need to happen to Angelina Park
Okay, good.
over there. And since we're on that topic, just in case anybody's remembering, Angelina Park did get approved for a new basketball court under the last Community Preservation Act. And that is supposed to be, based on my information last week, supposed to be completed by June 30th. So they are apparently in full bore moving forward with that, with getting the bids finalized and the contracts finalized. So I'm hoping that can be accomplished by June 30th. So it's usable during the summer.
Nice.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Next screen, guy. Next screen, guy.
He's working
Thank you.
on it.
Sorry, I was napping again. So
All right.
my mouse battery is low. I keep forgetting to replace the mouse battery.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
A lot of excuses.
John?
Yes, yeah, this looks familiar. So folks that hopefully haven't gotten tired of seeing this one, Drive Like Your Kids Live Here. Probably everybody's aware that we do have an inventory of these signs available for anybody who would like to put one in their yard. It's part of our initiative to driving a safer East Springfield. So I know this isn't the time of year people are probably thinking about that, but just keep in mind, we do have Drive Like Your Kids Here Live Here signs to put in your yard. And, the more we can get up around the neighborhood, the more I think effective they'll be. And just reminding folks to take a look at their speed and slow down. So I think that's all that we need to cover on this. The Police Traffic Bureau, of course, we've got some notes down here at the bottom about they're doing speed initiatives in the neighborhood. And of course, we're going to be working with them come April, scheduling some check your speed events. So we'll have more about that to follow.
Thank you.
And that segues very nicely into the Sector C community meeting.
Go for it, John.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, as we do have representatives from the Springfield Police Department with us this evening, and we're welcoming back Lieutenant Arpin and Officer Vasquez, and hopefully we're looking forward to a positive police report, a nice healthy police report from Lieutenant Arpin this evening. So Lieutenant, it's all yours.
Gotta unmute.
And we are
Can
working
we
on bringing.
unmute him?
Yep. Yeah, he is on mute. Yeah.
I sent a message to ask him to unmute.
There
Oh,
we
he's
go.
unmuted.
There we go.
Okay, good. Very good.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
can.
And
We
now,
can hear you
Okay.
now, Lieutenant.
All right, so this is the crime status report for Schedule 1 crimes from January 10 through February 6. There was only 3 total Schedule 1 crimes, which is very good. For burglary and breaking and entering, there were 2. One of them was a domestic, and I can't get into details, but it involves 1144 Page Boulevard, which we're all familiar with. Those duplexes,
Mm-hmm.
where we've had ongoing. Then we had on Friday, January 15th, at 33 Oakdale Street, at Truck Buyers Incorporated. A window was smashed, but nothing, they couldn't find anything of note realized. Moving on to motor vehicle thefts. Fastenal Company, Wheels Limited, company truck. Later on, it was found abandoned after being involved in an accident. So the traffic guys are investigating that, see if there's a little more to that they can find out. And that's it for Schedule 1 crimes. Let's see. We got 2 gun calls. One of them was unfounded. That was for 31 Russell Street. And then there was one where an actual arrest was made at 40 Ames Street. That was on January 26th. And I have the arrest report here. The defendant is a 47-year-old Hispanic male named Wilfredo Santa of 40 Ames Street. He was arrested for carrying a firearm without a license, carrying a loaded firearm, possessing a large capacity firearm in the commission of a felony, trafficking in 18 grams of more of cocaine, the possession to distribute Class A as a subsequent offender, possession to distribute Class B as a subsequent offender, and another charge of possession to distribute Class B subsequent offender. So he had cocaine and crack cocaine. That's why there are the 2 Bs. Apparently he had every drug on him that anybody could ever want.
Wow.
He's like a walking drugstore, apparently. You guys want me to read the report? It's about a page.
It's necessary, sir. My one question is, was he arrested inside the unit or was it outside the unit?
I'd have to read it. It just says he was arrested at 40 Ames Street.
Okay. All right.
So, oh yeah, he was sleeping in the driver's seat of his car, so it's outside.
Outside, okay.
Wow.
And that's where all of the drugs were located.
Yeah, they located
Okay.
a firearm in plain
Yeah,
view
okay.
kind of thing, and then it led to one thing, led to another, and that's where everything else came about. So,
Okay,
Wow.
thank you.
all right.
Risk.
So, basically, what they recovered was a firearm, $3,500 in cash, 15 grams of cocaine, 14.5 grams of crack cocaine,
Whoa.
4 baggies of heroin.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not a really good guy.
Thank you for that good work.
Let's see, quality of life calls. We had one for suspicious activity, which was unfounded at Roosevelt and East. Then there were 5 calls to suspicious motor vehicle. Looks like one was advised, the rest were unfounded, and one of them was actually a vehicle was towed, and it was 275 Cottage Street, I think, yeah, 275 Cottage Street. I don't know, whatever. I'm not sure why it was towed, but they responded as of the call, and they found the car necessary to be towed, unregistered, I'm not sure. Suspicious person calls, there were 4. Let's see, 1037 St. James Avenue on January 10th. An arrest was made, a call for a suspicious person. The officers found this person, located him, ran him for warrants, and lo and behold, he had warrants, so he went in.
All right.
The other ones are assist given, taken care of. Oh, and then another one where an arrest was made for warrants for shoplifting. Somebody named Jennifer Sweeney of 31 Russell. It looks like the arrest occurred on January 27th at 31 Russell Street. And there was a call for a suspicious person. Officers made contact with a Jennifer Sweeney. They ran her and discovered she had at least 3 or more warrants for shoplifting. So she was arrested. Moving on to unnecessary noise, there were only 2 calls. One of them, I guess, must have terminated, and before officers arrived, the complainant canceled. And then the other one was unfounded. Those were at, the one that was canceled was 45 Watling,
Mm-hmm.
and the one that was where they couldn't locate anything was 1309 St. James. Let's see here. So going over like miscellaneous arrests, I apologize if I repeat, some of this stuff repeats itself, but there was an arrest at 1037 St. James Street for the warrants that Wilfredo Santo that I had mentioned. There was an arrest for warrants at 43 Lang Street for a suspect named that lives there named Christian Opalenik. There was, it just says Carew Street. There was a arrest for warrants. The suspect was the guy from 31 Russell Street, Ishmael Garcia. 178 Tremont Street. Let's see. There was an arrest. It looks like it might be domestic. I'm not sure on that one. And then we have the one I mentioned with all the drugs and stuff that will Rita Santa again. It was 31 Russell Street. And then there was a Fernwald Street. Guy was on a car stop, was arrested for operating motor vehicle with a suspended license and concealing ID of a number plate violation and unregistered motor vehicle. So that's it for some other arrests there. And that's pretty much I got what I got. And I got to tell you, I think it's a good month, a real
Yes.
good month. So,
Yep.
and, you know,
You didn't disappoint us.
It was a good
I
one.
know. Hey, you can sit into some of these other meetings. It takes me an hour to read off all the stuff.
No, that is.
Don't
that's
Don't
good
move.
news.
Don't move. You guys got the best location in the city.
Yeah, we do. We do.
That's- Yes, and we'd like to attribute some of that to, of course, we have a neighborhood that will make phone calls. So we've always encouraged that. And I know in many times when we get these reports, that's one of the things that we're always encourage the neighborhood to do is just, call, even if you're not sure, call, just keep making the phone calls. Cause that's what really helps. That's what really helps us keep the crime down.
Absolutely.
Well, very good.
So I guess
Yep, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I guess we can move on to Officer Vasquez.
Yeah.
See what he has to for you guys.
That sounds good.
First thing is Maui Village. I'm keeping tabs with narcotics. I have a ongoing investigation. Monitoring the noise complaints on the corridor of Page Boulevard, Cadwell Drive, Watland Street, Curb Street. Due to the noise complaints from one of the neighbors in the area. I'm also monitoring Arthur Street and Ardmore Street. Ardmore Street has been quiet, no activity. I'm also monitoring the schools for suspicious activity in the parking lot and for the homeless situations. Both schools, Samuel Bowles and Mary Pottinger School. I've been doing some traffic deployments in the area of Page Boulevard, St. James Boulevard, St. James Ave for the speeding and the Chapter 90 violators. I'm also keeping tabs with code enforcement in regards to the vacant houses in East Springfield. I'm also working with Queen City, monitoring the illegal dumping and shopping carts. They picked up about 8 of them today on off of St. James Ave in Mallory Village.
Great.
Kathy, can we maybe mention to the residents in East Springfield about putting their stuff on the tree belts before the pickup date with the city of Springfield?
Right, do you want to mention, or do you want me to, officer?
You can do that, just to remind them to put
Sure.
it out the night before. I know they have pickup dates with the city. Sometimes it's out there for 2 or 3 weeks, and
Right.
that's what I'm noticing right now.
Yeah, so if you call the city for a bulk pickup, please put your stuff out the night before so that it can get picked up early the next morning, but it shouldn't be hanging on the tree belt. So arrange your time such. And the same with your trash cans. They need to go out like the night before, and they need to be back in the night of the trash pickup. But you're right, Officer Vasquez, there are more and more mattresses, et cetera, kind of hanging in tree belts waiting for DPW. And we know in some cases that you've called in for a bulk pickup, but please keep them up somewhere else, but not on the tree belt until your bulk pickup day. But thank you for bringing that up, Julio. That's really an important one.
Okay, Kathy. Other than that, that's pretty much what I have.
Okay. Sounds good. Anybody have any questions?
Sorry.
Yes, I wanted to ask Officer Vasquez, what is Chapter 90 enforcement?
Chapter 90 are motor vehicle violations.
Oh,
Red lights,
Oh, okay.
defective equipment, noise, mufflers, seatbelt violations, electronic device.
Very good. Very good. And actually that you're one step ahead of me, because that was one of the things I was going to put on the list for topics tonight, was just trying to get, if it was possible to get some detail, some extra effort or some emphasis on, speed control on the major, St. James, Page Boulevard, Carew Street, if we could get a focus in the neighborhood. But it sounds like you've already jumped on that. So I'm really glad to hear that you've been able to do some of that. And I did want to mention too, that Marie and I walk the neighborhood on a regular basis. And I have to say, this winter, that the snow clearing, especially in some of the problem areas that we've experienced in past winters, has been really good this year. We've had very few spots where we've had to be in the street or walk through parking lots to walk around the neighborhood. So it's whatever you're doing or whatever you did last year, I think it's having an impact, and people are clearing their sidewalks and not plowing snow up and blocking, blocking corners and things like that. So appreciate that.
John, I did go back to the gas station at the corner of St. James and Ave and St. James Boulevard, about the corner there with the sidewalk.
Yes.
So I did go back this year for the first one, just to remind them.
Good. Well, they've been good. Actually, Marie mentioned to me one of our first walks after it snows is, oh my, look at this, it's all cleared. And it just seemed like every winter that was one of the spots where we'd have to, go after them for it, but it's been taken care of very nicely. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a neighbor down at the end of my street who's decided to leave 2 blue barrels and 2 green barrels, just leave them out there all the time.
What's the
At the end
street,
of,
ma'am?
at the end of Redland and St. James corner.
Redlands and St. James?
St. James Boulevard, right?
Yeah,
Redlands and St. James Boulevard.
yes.
Yeah, there's two reports from the Facebook feed of the same situation at 332 to 334 Page, and at the electric union at the corner of Page and St. James. Trash barrels are out there, and they're saying they're
All the
actually
time.
out right now. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
what the
these are
trash day
out,
is. I'm
too.
assuming it may be Thursday because I live near there, and that's when my trash day is.
So we've had sort of three of them brought to our attention tonight. The one at Redlands and St. James, the 332 and 334 Page, and then the corner of Page and St. James.
Yep.
Right, okay.
I have a question. Who puts the boots on the car? If they have a
That-
boot, who does that?
That is CJ's in conjunction with City Hall if they don't pay their excise taxes.
Oh, okay, because we've had two in the neighborhood and they were gone in 48 hours.
Yep.
Hmm?
It
Okay,
does prompt people to pay their bills.
I guess so.
I will go look at Redlands and St. James Boulevard and the Page Boulevard and St. James Boulevard corridor in the morning. I'll
Thank
take care
you.
of that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Any other questions from the news feed or any place? No. Let me just do one more clarification. I know there was a question about the Community Preservation Act grant that we're putting in for. We're actually rewriting that grant. A little bit of it doesn't have to be rewritten, but we are rewriting it because a little of the minutia that you probably don't want to know, but it's about a $240,000 bill. And last year, the Community Preservation Act was not interested in funding something that was $240,000. We recrunched the numbers and found that it really does cost $240,000 to do that project. So we are working with the Park Department to see if we can come up with another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 out of some community development block grant money in order to supplement the cost, so that the Community Preservation Act people would be more interested in funding the project. So we really do have to rewrite a fair amount of it, although we've got our core down on a piece of paper. And I hope that's a little bit more clear than I was the last time I answered that question. Any other questions, or are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay, for anybody who's watching at home, just send us an email if you have additional questions that you want to have answered, and please take a look. Come join us on our meeting on the 2nd, when we will have Councilor Williams, Letterman, and Fenton here, and also take a look at the 25% meeting on March 3rd. Any board members have any final comments? Lieutenant
No.
Arpin?
No, I'm good.
Leo?
Yep.
Okay, well then, let's adjourn the meeting. People can hang along if